Welcome to SUNUP, everyone. We're diving right in today, talking about the weather. While the rain is certainly welcome, we could do without the severe weather and extreme winds. Gary McManus, our state climatologist, will have a full update in the Mesonet weather report. But first, we're talking about summer crops. Here's SUNUP's Elizabeth Hokett with Dr. Josh Lofton.
We're talking summer crops now with Josh Lofton, our OSU Extension cropping system specialist. And Josh, it's been a while since we caught up about summer crops, but we have some stuff to talk about here. So let's just jump right in, start talking about corn. What's been going on with corn?
Well, I mean, we're sitting here kind of the middle of July, or the first quarter of July, and we've progressed a lot on our corn. Our corn is one that probably, you know, most growers planted first. And so it's the furthest along. We're hoping that it's the furthest along. And I just kind of grabbed some samples of some corn that we have here on the station, planted around the first couple weeks in April. And we have anywhere from, you know, it at the blister stage, so right after it pollinated, to kind of milk, maybe early soft dough. So for those folks that aren't familiar, that we've moved on to reproductive. We have pollinated these, so now these are just filling with resources, and we're heading towards the end of the season. So I would hope by the end of July, this crop had kind of finished filling, and then we would use a couple of weeks into August to finish out that crop, dry that crop down, and potentially see some combines rolling through the field here in about probably 30, 45, maybe 50 days, depending on where you are. Probably a little bit earlier in the Southwest, and then working here towards the state line. Good looking pollination time. We've had some good moisture. The one thing that does concern me, and we'll talk about it probably a little bit more with all of these crops, is that as we've gotten hotter, we've kind of gotten into these real critical stages as we've gotten the heat, and that timing doesn't play well typically with getting good fill, good pollination, and maybe some good yield at the end of the season.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into sorghum. What's happening with that? Is that about the same?
Yeah, so we are kind of hitting, really just depending on where you plant. We have some good looking sorghum here with a little bit of variety. We planted our sorghum kind of the middle of April, so right around where you would like to see sorghum going out. We're anywhere from boot, maybe flag leaf, on to early pollination. We've been traveling around the state. We have, you know, more advanced pollination down in Southwest where we are going into grain filling. So we're moving very, very quickly on some of our early planted grain sorghum. Our double crop, we have some of that, you know, just kind of have gotten a lot of that in the ground after we finally got wheat out of the ground. So that's coming up into some really nice heat, some good looking soil moisture. So sorghum's doing pretty well. Again, we really don't like these temperatures during pollination. As long as we kind of stay south of that 95, 100 degree weather for all day, I think we're gonna be better than most for both corn and sorghum. But the more we can get into those low 90s, maybe even some of the high 80s, maybe in the next couple days, the better, or the next couple weeks. I don't think we're gonna get it in the next couple days, but the better off we're gonna be as a whole in the crop.
Yeah, now what about soybeans? How are they doing?
Yeah, so last kind of crop that we work on in summer crops are soybeans. We are seeing a lot of soybeans kind of in that intermediate stage. So we have some like these. Again, we planted a little early. We had some good conditions, some good moisture that we didn't know how much we were gonna get in April. So we went ahead and planted kind of that middle part of April. And so we have moved on these to pod development. You can see we're developing pods kind of in the lower part of the canopy. We're still flowering in the top part of the canopy. So in between kind of that early pod development and that flowering, again, that's a time we really don't like these 90. Soybean is a lot more sensitive to that heat stress. So the more we get even into the 90s, the more we are gonna lose some weight and maybe lose some successful pollination. The good thing is, because soybeans produce so many flowers, we can lose some of those flowers, lose some of those early pods, and still have a good flush of those kind of come in on the back end.
Just briefly touch on insect pressure. Have you been having any insects?
Yeah, we have found, I know there's a couple of big ones that a lot of growers see. We have had some aphid issues and some aphid scares in sorghum. A lot of growers are seeing more corn leaf aphids, which are not as big of a concern. Soybeans, we've been kind of quiet, some vegetative feeders. I think most people are interested in the corn and the corn leafhopper. We have found them in the state, so that's something that growers need to be reaching out to their county educator. Our state extension entomologist and pathologist really helping out with some management goals. Depending on if you're full season and we're getting close towards the end of the year, or if we're just now planting our double crop and really starting out the year, maybe there's some different considerations we have to take.
Yeah, well, we'll hope for the best going into August and September, and we'll see how the crops turn out.
Yep.
Thanks, Josh.
Yep.